What's up everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. I have a fun video lined up. We're going to be diving into the Solo, a Star Wars story Blu-ray coming out on the 25th. This thing is loaded with a ton of bonus content, so let's dive into all of it. Before diving into the special features, let's briefly talk about the film itself. I'm going to leave a link to the video down in the description below, but overall, I enjoyed the movie. I gave it 80% on my entertainment meter in my original review. I thought the direction from Ron Howard was imaginative. It was loaded with a lot of immersive visual appeal. I thought Alden Ehrenreich was a solid Han Solo, and I felt Donald Glover added plenty of charm to a younger Lando, and for me, Harrelson, Newton, Clark, Bettany, and the rest of the cast all rounded out a collection of very interesting characters. There was some awesome action sequences, and the film created a Western vibe at times that really showed imagination and how it was woven into the sci-fi settings, but at the same time it was a little bit formulaic, and for me at least, it failed to capture a backdrop to Solo that was superior to what I had always imagined. I also don't think it effectively captured the history between Solo and Lando, as it felt like a script that followed too routine of a structure, and with the quick progression, it just felt like a remake of Han Solo with an added prologue rather than a story following the younger life of the iconic character. The film definitely wasn't bad. It has more than its share of entertainment, but it also had some odd story choices and an over-reliance on nostalgia. Now let's get into all of this bonus content, because there is a lot of it. The first segment was called Solo, the Director and Cast Roundtable. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this sit-down with the cast and Ron Howard. I thought it effectively captured the chemistry between them all. I thought their thoughts on being part of the franchise was very thought-provoking. It was very nice and down-to-earth and comfortable as they talk about Star Wars nostalgia, what their thoughts were when they first heard about their casting, what some of their favorite moments were to shoot in the film, as well as just what it was like being on these massive sets and a part of this historical franchise. The next featurette was called The Train Heist. This was a detailed look at one of the more action-packed sequences in the film. It really explores the development of this sequence from the ground up, from the design of the train, how it would move, how it would sound, the choreography of all the characters. It has a lot of commentary that captures the filmmaker's intent on wanting it to feel like a Western train heist in tone, and I really enjoyed seeing all the digital and practical effects come together to capture the weight of this first crime that would be connected to Han Solo. The next segment was called Remaking the Millennium Falcon. This vignette was loaded with behind-the-scenes footage that showcased the practical creation of this ship throughout all the various sets. In this movie, the Falcon's under the ownership of Lando, and the filmmakers discuss how they wanted it to look under his vibrant personality. It also goes more in depth on new shooting locations inside the ship, as well as implementing small bits of nostalgia that I found to be all very interesting. Next up was a nicely edited feature called Escape from CORELLIA. The chase sequence on CORELLIA was one of my favorite scenes in the film, and this was a very insightful look at how the entire thing was created. It really captures how the manufacturing planet was designed and created from concept to what we see in the film. It shows some of the inspirations behind the design of Han's speeder. It has a lot of different footage that really captures all the nuances that go into creating these massive set pieces, and I thought it provided a ton of great information in less than 10 minutes. The next featurette was a very charming one called Team CHEWIE. This was an awesome segment featuring another iconic character. It describes the concepts behind creating Chewie and Solo's first meeting, as well as the difficulties of shooting the mud scene with him wearing the suit. It goes more in on the partnership of Han and Chewie, as well as creating new sound effects for the character, as well as providing a very fun inside look at Suotomo and all the work that he put into the fight choreography. Next up was a short segment called KASDAN on KASDAN. This was a surprisingly fascinating featurette that explored more of the mindset behind the father-son writing team of Lawrence and Jonathan Kasdan. I thought it was quite interesting to hear both their different outlooks. Larry Kasdan speaks more on his more purist mindset to the franchise, and his son Jonathan talks more on his life growing up with Star Wars and how they were both able to weave their sensibilities into one character, and I really enjoyed this blend of old school and next gen behind the writing. The next feature explored one of the film's new characters called Becoming a Droid L337. I had a good time watching this short look at Phoebe Waller-Bridge's portrayal of L337. There's a lot of footage from various stages of development that are all edited together to show all the detail that's taken into creating this droid. It uses a blend of practical and digital effects, and it expands more on their desire for an authentic, more physically animated performance, which I really enjoyed seeing the construction of because I thought it was noticeable in the film. Next up was a great featurette called Scoundrels, Droids, Creatures, and Cards, Welcome to Fort Yipso. Another memorable scene was the first meeting between Solo and Lando at the lodge, and this one dives deeply into the construction of that scene. Filmmakers speak on the creation of a 100% practical set, as well as all the historical inspirations behind the design of everything, the layouts, the background characters. It was loaded with a lot of detail that really captures all the intricacies of major scenes like this that you don't even notice. And the final bonus vignette was called Into the Maelstrom, the Kessel Run. Everybody knows Solo was famous for making the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. This movie showed it to us. This feature shows the construction of that sequence. It was interesting to see them create a fully movable cockpit for the actors. Behind the scenes footage really captures their reactions in an amusing way, from concept design to sound effects to various stages of pre-res footage. I thought another aspect of filmmaking was very well delivered in this well-crafted sequence. And finally, let's talk about the deleted scenes. This edition gives us 8 of them, 5 scenes and a few extended sequences. Proxima's Den was a short back and forth between Kira and Solo that didn't convey anything that we didn't already know. Another one was called Snowball Fight. It was a cute scene with Han and Chewie, but better for a gag reel in my opinion. Another quick scene was called Coaxium Double Cross, and much like the first, it wasn't really needed in the final cut of the film. Another was called Corellian Foot Chase. I enjoyed it. It showed some of his natural charm and a little bit of intensity in a short moment, but I can see why it was cut from the film for pacing. Another one was called Han Solo Imperial Cadet. It also did show some of his sense of humor and a little bit more of his mindset, but again, I can see why it was cut from the film for probably just overall pacing. And the final 3 were all extended scenes, the first being the Battle of Mimban, which did have some intensity, but I could see why the sequence was trimmed back for pacing. I think the same goes with the next one called Meet Dryden, which did provide a few more lines from Bettany, but also had a lot more forced humor from Solo that kind of felt slightly out of place. And the last one was an extended version of the Han versus Chewie scene down in the mud pit. I had a great time with this extended look. This was one of my favorite scenes in the film, like I said earlier, and I think getting a slightly longer look at how these two characters met was very enjoyable, and I thought it should have been worked into the final cut of the film somehow. And that's it for the bonus material on this multi-screen edition release of Solo: A Star Wars Story, guys. The film was not perfect, but I thought it was very entertaining, and like they consistently do, Star Wars home entertainment releases come packed full of additional footage to really round out adding this film to your home video library. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, share it with your friends, leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can be alerted when all the new videos pop up. All my social media links are going to be down in the description below. You can also visit the Silver Screen Analysis for a wide range of movie-related content, and here's some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them.